Dejounte Murray's out. Doesn't matter. We think the Hawks are done. They're toast. Plus, Ime Udoka gets a new job. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this Hawks series and, so many problems from them. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Rainy J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're a subscriber. So make sure you are subscribed on whichever app you use. Also, you can watch the show on YouTube. Hop into the comments section there, start a conversation, be part of the conversation. Tell me I suck. Tell me I'm awesome. Whatever you want to do, just make a comment. That'd be fun. I'm John Karalis. I used to play once upon a time. Now I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. We are sitting here waiting for the impending elimination of the Atlanta Hawks. And while we are waiting for that, we are talking about the Gametime app. Download Gametime, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's bring in Tom Westerholm because basically we're going to yell about the Hawks for half an hour or so because
it's like every other pod that we've done over the last 2 weeks.
I'm sorry. There's very little that I think is going to carry into the next series. I can't talk about, I suppose you can dive into like such little tiny minutia that there obviously going to be some little things that carry over, rebounding and such, and creative ways to defend the pick and roll. Sure. But it's
Jaylen not wearing a mask.
Jaylen not wearing a mask. We do half an hour on JB not wearing the mask. That's also a thing that we can do. Not a problem there. But Philly is a different team. It's a different matchup. It's a different style. It's a different everything.
Yeah.
And frankly, the Hawks have been, they fought hard. They have tried really hard. And then they have made the Celtics work, which is good. It's good that the Celtics have had to work, and it hasn't been 5 games of sitting down for fourth quarters. So that's good. But Tom, everywhere I look, it's the Hawks screwing up left and right and allowing the Celtics to do things. Now, effort goes a long way, but ability and their just general kind of cohesiveness and all of the things that are wrong with the Hawks, I'm sorry, that is more the reason why the Celtics are going to win this thing in 5 than the Celtics throwing any sort of wrinkles or doing anything else. They're not even playing their best offensive basketball. They're really not doing. How many driving kicks have you seen?
Well, there was the one where Jaylen kind of dribbled it wrong, and then it turned into a drive, and then there was like Rob kind of kicked it out on like one of the last possessions of the game. There was some stuff. I mean,
every time they drive, Tom, it's a layup.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, look, I mean, this series has been kind of funny because the Hawks, the Hawks have played hard and they have, fought and they've, they got hot in game 3. And that's the reason that there's going to be another game against the Hawks in Boston. It's almost kind of condescending to be like, I really come away impressed by the Hawks because they played hard. And like that almost like
yeah.
And it's kind of this like, oh, you tried so hard, little buddy. Like you did good. Like I don't know. This is an NBA team. Like, I'm glad they're trying hard.
You're supposed to play hard.
It's the playoffs. Like, what are we doing here?
I got a lot of respect, man. They played hard, man. They didn't quit. You're not supposed to quit. It's the playoffs. I mean, like, look, I'm glad they didn't quit. I'm glad they did. Like, that's just kind of the baseline. Like, the baseline of game 3 was that the Hawks should come in and play crazy hard because if they don't win, their season's over. And they won.
That's great. They got hot and they won. The baseline for game 4 was that they should come in and play really hard, because if they win, they send it back to Boston 2-2, and all of a sudden it's a different series. Great. I'm glad you played hard, but like the Celtics are just better. And even when they don't play their best game, even when Tatum is cold for the first 3 quarters and things just kind of aren't clicking, the Celtics still have, they're still fluttering around that double-digit lead. Like, I mean, it's like, look, the Hawks, great. Good job. Trae Young, he had kind of it felt like a little bit of a fake 35. He hit all those baskets late, and it's like, okay.
I was going to say, do you need a second to compose yourself? Because it sounded like you were going to actually praise Trae Young, and I didn't know if you were going to dry heave.
No. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can give Trae Young some genuine, no snark praise. He, like, yesterday, his passing was really good. Like he the way he's been operating. Tremendous passer. And the way he's been operating against the Celtics drop coverage has been, he's played well.
He's the reason why DeAndre Hunter got 27 points through 3 quarters.
100%.
The main reason why.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like, good job, Trae. All that aside, it's like, we know who the better team is. I kind of was like, I think the Celtics should sweep this series. They didn't. I think that's okay. You drop one game. It's an NBA team that you're playing against. Fine.
It's a top 5 offense.
It's a top. If you don't sweep a top 5 offense, fine. But like, they should win this in 5 now. Like,
yes.
Now you have to win this in 5. And look, like, we'll get into Dejounte Murray being suspended, all that stuff. Like, they have no excuse now. If they close it out in 5, they did their job. They get to face, a Sixers team that probably has at best a hobbled Joel Embiid for the first game or so. You did your job. If this thing comes back to Atlanta, the Celtics really should. Oh my God. They should feel horrible about themselves.
That would bother me a lot. If they lose game 5, I will legitimately be pissed. I will be very, very upset.
I just don't want to watch the Hawks anymore, man.
No, I'm done with them.
Like, let's start these real series. I want to see a real series.
Like, I'm done. Well, let's just talk about Dejounte real quick, because it was so. You watched, like, the first thing I saw yesterday was the video of him just approaching the ref and bumping him. Then you realize he hit that meaningless 3, walked all the way across the court.
That meaningless 3 that covered the spread for a lot of people, from what I understand. So
yeah, well, it depends, because the initial spread, I was thinking like, oh, whatever. Initial spread was 6.5 that I saw. It grew to 7.5, but there are a bunch of different spreads out there for people who have like different parlays, and you can say, hey, I'll take these 3 bets, like the over on points, the under on smart assists, and with that comes a Celtics spread that is now, well, normally it was 7.5, but we're actually going to make it 10.5, because we want, like, if you take 2 easier bets, we're going to make the spread more difficult.
Right.
And so there are people who had like 8.5, and they covered that. So just because it covered the just straight spread doesn't mean people didn't lose because of that 3-pointer. Right. Anyway, he walks across the court, gets into the ref's face, bumps the ref, and then walks off. He had plenty of time to say, maybe this is a bad idea.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe what I'm about to do right now is dumb. And I've heard people say, oh, it's a shame. It's a shame that he's going to get suspended, because, you just want to beat the Hawks at full strength, or, you want, he's been so good this series. I don't want to see his series end like that. Like, you know what? First of all, I don't give a damn. I do not give a damn, because he did something stupid. That's his fault. It's not my fault. I have no sympathy for him. You do something that dumb, that's your own fault. You had a chance. You walked across an entire NBA court to do that. That's your fault. And it's the playoffs, man. I don't give it. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame if they face the Sixers and Joel Embiid's not 100%. No way, man. I don't care that he's not 100%. I'm not rooting for an injury. I'm not wishing for an injury. But when they happen and it hurts the other team, hey, that sucks. I don't want that to happen. But they happen. And if the Celtics benefit from it, I'm not going to feel sorry for them. because no one's going to feel sorry for the Celtics. If Tatum sprains an ankle, no one's going to feel sorry for the Celtics. They're going to be like, Sixers fans going to be happy. Oh, great. Oh, man, now we have a better chance at winning. This is how it is, man. That's sports. It's just how it is.
I mean, the injury one to me is a little bit different. The Murray one is like the injury one. It's like, okay, like it would be nice to see. I think it'd be nice to see like healthy sides go at each other. The Murray one, it's like play stupid games, win stupid prizes, man. Like like you said, dude walked the whole way across the court. He bumped the ref, kind of mean mugged him, like gave him a look. It's like
stupid.
What do you think is gonna happen? Like, no, and also like, oh man, it's a shame that his series has to end like this. Like, he ended it.
He ended it.
He stopped it. Like, he had, however many, like 70 plus feet. Like, he didn't walk, not the whole way, but right, like 70-ish feet to decide not to do this. Like, yeah, don't do dumb stuff, and dumb stuff might not happen to you.
You know what he needs? The Gametime app.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He needs the Gametime app now, because now Dejounte Murray is looking for last-minute tickets to Hawks Celtics. I don't think he can actually be in the building, but hey, put on like a fake mustache. Who was the Sox manager that did that? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Put on like the glasses and the hat, the big whatever, and download the Gametime app, because you want last-minute tickets. And hey, he's already going to be losing money due to the fine. You don't want to spend too much money on those tickets, and you can forget about planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. So you can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for anything basketball. See, I'm sure they have something for the Celtics Game 5, and plenty of tickets are probably going to be available. Plus all the other sports, concerts, theater, comedy. The Gametime guarantee means you're always going to get the best price. If you find tickets in that same section, same row for less, you'll get a credit for 110% of the difference. You also get images of your seat, so you know what you're looking at before you buy. You can get the tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're all set. And the tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you don't have to dig through your emails and all of that stuff. Get these tickets without the stress. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today's show also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's favorite sports book. I'm just going to make that claim. It's my favorite sports book. It's the official sports book of the Locked On Podcast Network. And hey, baseball's back on top of the NBA. And you want to get a no sweat first bet of up to $1,000 when you're a new customer, sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. You place your first bet, you get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. So whatever you want to bet on, if you want to bet on Jayson Tatum 3-pointers, like we were talking about before, you want to do a parlay on FanDuel, you can do that. Just be careful about Dejounte Murray. Well, not Dejounte, maybe Trae Young. Actually, I expect there to be garbage time. So it'll probably be somebody at the end of the Hawks bench screwing up your bet. But if you're smart, you can win. Don't miss your chance at that no sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's important. You got to do it at FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel is an official partner of the NBA and Major League Baseball. And of course, us at the Locked On Podcast Network. Just ask you, if you're going to do it, please gamble responsibly. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Tomorrow, Game 5 post-game. I'll try to do it from the Garden, but they're always shifting things around. And, oh, yeah, the Bruins are good, so they're going to be changing over for Bruins games. So you will get a post-game podcast there, and either preparing for Philly or a very angry Celtics Game 6 podcast after that. I do not anticipate doing that. Tom Westerholm. So Dejounte Murray's not going to be around. That really sucks, because he's been kind of like their best player. I don't know where they're going to get that production from. They've been terrible on the road. And I feel like the Celtics are in this spot where they first of all, I think they should blow the doors off of Atlanta. I think Atlanta's got one more run in them. And then the Celtics just beat that back, and we're going to see Pritchard. We might see I expect a full fourth quarter of garbage time. Like, I think it's going to be that bad. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly see it. I don't know. I mean, I think the Celtics haven't been. Well, at home they were, I guess, for stretches. I was gonna say the Celtics haven't been that dominant, but like they
They had a
have been at
32-point
times.
lead at one point. They had 22-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for some reason I don't have like a good reason for it. I think but I don't expect it to be a blowout, but I don't have logic. I'm just eye testing it. Like I just feel like I just think the Celtics are gonna win. I think this one's one's done. I mean, like I guess the the thing the other thing about Dejounte Murray being out is that's one of the few guys who isn't like a total target, right? On the defensive end. Like, I mean, and he's a target for Tatum, but he's not like a target for like, for like Jaylen, even like some of those other guys. Like, at least he's very competitive.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. I mean, who starts for him? Like Bogdanovich, like good player, but another guy. Yeah. I mean, like, Smart's waving people off to get a chance to drive right by Bogdanovich. I mean, get a big one-handed dunk, like, like Jalen Johnson, like Malcolm Brogdon was, like toasting him in a toaster. Like I don't know. It's no, I've talked myself into it. Actually, I think there's gonna be some garbage time tomorrow.
That smart drive is so indicative of what I'm talking about and why you go up and down this roster. I wrote a thing on Boston Sports Journal, all these little things about the Hawks, and it was just, John Collins. No wonder he's been on the trade block forever. I mean, what has he done? Nothing. Bogdanovich has one good game. The Hawks role players have had exactly one good game in this series, and the rest has been kind of difficult. And again, congratulations to them for playing hard and making the Celtics work for it. It's, I guess, you get a sticker for that. But that smart drive is the point of attack defense for the Hawks is such hot garbage. It's bad when there's effort. It's bad when there's effort. When they're down 20, down 3-1 on the road and nothing is working and they're all frustrated and they're all just going to, at some point in that game, going to be like, oh my God, enough. This has been a rough season. We're going to go back to Atlanta. Let me just get my stuff. I'm going to go figure some stuff out. This is why I feel like they'll come out strong. The Celtics come out stronger and shut that down. If they come out to like a 30-10 somewhere in that first quarter, then the Hawks are they're going to just start. You're going to see hands go in the air and talking to each other and all of that stuff. So, but the Celtics, with going back to that smart play, that's why I can't take anything away from this series that moves forward. That's not going to happen.
No,
against Philly. It's not going to happen against Milwaukee or Miami or wherever, whoever. It's just not going to happen in future series. You don't just take NBA guys off the dribble like that with no creativity.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. Whenever Celtics Sixers presumably starts, like the Sixers just played a team that had absolutely no answer for their superstar, right? Like Nets had, like just nobody who can, really do much about Embiid. And like few people, on planet Earth can do much about Joel Embiid, but the Celtics generally defend him pretty well. And I think we'll see plenty of wrinkles that we might not have seen during the regular season. I thought the last time those two teams matched up, we didn't see the Celtics really try anything creatively. And I just felt like that was partly because they were at the end of the year and they didn't want to necessarily give things away for a likely second round opponent. So I think we'll see a very different type of defense. Like the Sixers are not we'll have some like, oh geez, like this is like a real NBA team again. And I think the Celtics will have the same thing against the Sixers. Like, oh geez, shoot, this is a real NBA team. Like I feel like it might be like a situation where both teams in the first quarter kind of punch each other and then they both have to sit down for a second and be like, like, so yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm with you, man. I don't think there's that much you can take away. I think the Celtics I do think the Celtics look businesslike, right? Like they look like they're like. I thought in Game 4 they really, it wasn't a perfect win, but it didn't have to be. I thought it was like a nice, just kind of like take care of business kind of win. But I mean, yeah, okay, great. That's the baseline. like I would good. I'm glad you are businesslike for the playoffs. Like, in kind of the same way that it's like, good. I'm glad the Hawks are trying. Yeah, good. I'm glad the Celtics are trying too. And I'm good. For the Celtics' sake, I'm glad that them trying is better than the Hawks trying.
Let's, I'll take a second here. I got rapid fire stuff from that last game, and then we can get into maybe some Ime Udoka, who is going to be the Houston Rockets coach.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about that in just a second. First, let's talk about PrizePicks, daily fantasy done right. And not only is it done right, it could be done rich with their $1 million daily super flex promotion for the NBA playoffs. Every day of the NBA playoffs, one PrizePicks user will win a chance at becoming a millionaire. One entry placed after 8 a.m. Eastern Time will randomly be selected each day. Whoever placed that entry will be given a 6-pick flex with the following payouts. 6 correct picks, $1 million. 5 correct picks, $80,000. So you better get those 6. 4 correct picks, $16,000. I'll take the $16,000. That's fine. Full details can be found on prizepicks.com/million. You must opt in at that link, prizepicks.com/million, to be eligible for the $1 million entry. Once you opt in, all you have to do is play the game like normal, and you could be the lucky winner. What's playing it like normal? It's very simple. You versus the projections. They set a projection for a player in any sport, literally any sport almost in the world. And you can go above or below. And if you win, there you go. So it's very simple. Not competing against other people. It's just projections on any sport that you watch. Entries can be made very quickly, like 60 seconds or so. Safe and fast withdrawals, currently operational over 30 states and Canada. Download PrizePicks, go to prizepicks.com. First-time users, you get 100% instant deposit match. So you deposit up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. Then you get whatever you deposit up to $100 matched from PrizePicks. So you got to use that promo code LOCKEDON. Sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. And hey, I also have to make the Nissan Electric Player of the Week choice. And I think that electric player right now, very obviously, is maskless Jaylen Brown. Masked Jaylen Brown, not even close. 1 for 7 in that game. But once he took the mask off, he became a different player. It was 11-15. You talk about brilliantly fierce. He was attacking. He was hitting from deep. He was doing everything. He was passing. Fiercely elegant with his drive and dish. Couple plays in a row to Robert Williams. I thought he was just really, really good. Elegantly powerful. It describes Jaylen Brown really to a T, because the way he attacks the basket, it is very fun to watch, and it is very strong. And, of course, he delivers on duality, the combination of fierceness and elegance, beautiful but strong. I will say, Jaylen Brown's got that beautiful beard. It's just the thickest, that thing is just a perfect beard. But on top of that, that just looks good. He plays incredibly well on both ends of the ball. He was incredible in Game 4, and I expect him to be incredible in Game 5. So that makes him my Nissan Most Electric Player of the Week. It's brought to you by the all-new electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. It packs pin you to your seat power, premium intelligence, all-in-one electric vehicle. It's the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the electric vehicle for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. All right, let's wrap up the show here with Tom Westerholm. Rapid fire thoughts. I hated the energy to start the second half. I will say this. The Celtics came out of the half, and if it was me coaching on the sidelines, and it worked out, so I'm not like getting on Joe Mazzulla, I would have called a timeout like 30 seconds into that half. Absolutely. I was like sitting there screaming at Joe, like, call the timeout just to reset the energy. I didn't like how they came out. I felt like they were just a little too slow. I would have sat them all down and be like, guys, wrong energy. Turn it up. Let's go. Do the whole like Three Stooges slap everybody across the face and send him back out there.
Yeah. In related news, you would have been fired on the spot.
Yeah, but it would have been fun. I would have gone viral.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, you'd been the second Celtics coach this year to go viral.
Yeah. I could have landed a job in Houston.
Hey, yeah, no, I thought yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't think they looked good coming out of the half. I mean, I think sometimes, yeah, like again, we've talked about it before, but I think against this Hawks team, like I would just imagine it's kind of hard to keep your like. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just constantly crapping on him,
like on the Hawks.
But like I'm sure it's hard to kind of keep your energy up all the time. Like I don't know this. Like yeah, you should win this one. Like
yeah, so I'm sorry. Look, the Hawks have talent, right? They have talent, but they just have no defensive intensity. They have no defensive desire, and they are just bad at it. And they're masking a lot of it by playing hard. And Trae Young picked apart a defense that was very happy to let DeAndre Hunter score. That's one of my other thoughts. The Celtics defense on DeAndre Hunter was basically by design.
Yeah.
Jayson Tatum left him alone to go in and box out and didn't care that DeAndre Hunter was hitting those shots. And hey, congrats to Trae Young. They were running that pick and roll. He was firing that pass into that corner, and he was hitting Young right in that shooting pocket, and Young and Hunter was hitting it. So good for them. But the Celtics were very happy to leave DeAndre Hunter alone.
The Celtics very clearly said, if DeAndre Hunter beats us, DeAndre Hunter beats us. And like, you know what? For 3 quarters, it was like, well, he might not beat you, but he is getting some buckets. But then, you know, in that fourth quarter, you started to see it, right? Like you started to see that. I think he went 0 for 3 in the fourth quarter. And it's like when that outlet, like when the outlet for that water, you know, when it slows to a drip, you're in trouble. Like, that puts the Hawks in a tough position.
It's just like their drop coverage. You got to make a choice. And again, it's the number 5 defense, number 5 offense in the league. So it's tough. It is. They are tough to defend as much as it's a lot of what I'm saying about the Hawks being bad is completely about their defense. So, which is just ridiculously easy to exploit. But the drop coverage, you know, it helps them box out. And it also says, hey, what we're not going to do is give up the lobs. In the third quarter, when that energy was bad and the defense was bad, what did we see a bunch of? Lob, like 3 or 4 of them. You know, that when you're not playing the defense you're supposed to, and I think Horford was a little bit higher up at the level of the screen. No, you could see right away why you either switch everything and live with the result, or you play the drop. You're not playing up to the level because they're too concerned with boxing out. You're going to lose somebody down there. It's not what you want. You playing up to the level. It's alley-oops and offensive rebounds all day long. So that's why part of why the drop coverage is there. Other random thoughts. Marcus Smart's ankle injury. I think he realized he dodged a bullet because he sprained the ankle and he looked at it. He's like, oh, like I feel like he understood that could have been a whole lot worse. He got lucky there.
Second time in 2 games that he's made that exact face, because he made that exact same face when he landed on his tailbone in game 3. This kind of like this kind of look on his face. Like, yeah. So it was, you know, I'm glad he finished the game. Glad he seems like he's doing okay. Yeah.
Not on the injury report, so he's
not on the injury report. Yep.
Can the Celtics stop pump faking their way out of layups? They did that a lot in that game, including Derek White, who 3 pump fakes and just lived in the lane and got that 3-second call.
Got the 3-second call. That was a funny one. Yeah. I mean, no, they can't because they would much rather have 3s. So
yeah. Let's see. What else do I have there? All Trae Young wants to do is grift his way to points.
Mostly true. I mean, I will say he's a lot. I mean, he's that floater where he just kind of turns his body and is kind of like, you know, I don't know if this is going to come through on the microphone, but he just kind of is like move inside.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good at that shot. Like that's a tough shot. He's really good at it. But yeah, but even that shot, part of the reason he's going like this is because it's like a grift, right? He's trying to show the ref like, hey, they're pushing me on the side. So.
And then in the third quarter, the Smart walking the dog. I wanted to bring this up. The little walking the dog thing. sometimes people were like, why is he doing that so early in the game? It's because he wants to draw somebody up.
It's not just the clock.
It's not the clock. In fact, I don't even know if the clock was running in that one. But
it was, but that wasn't why he was doing it.
But he definitely wasn't doing that.
Nope.
He was sitting there. He was waiting to get somebody coming this way towards him. And then as soon as that person takes like one step too far, he picks it up and goes. And it quickly becomes a 5-on-4.
Yes.
It's the one lost little thing there with the Celtics. Like, oh, they take advantage of the clock and all that stuff. Like they're doing that, but they're also setting up this odd man advantage where, especially if they're doing it with a screener out front.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden, time after time, watch for that to become a weapon at some point. Somebody's going to come up. They're either going to just let a minute come off the clock, or somebody's going to go up and be like, no, I got to go stop this. And then boom, it's going to be a 5-on-4. And when things are kind of going a little janky, that could be a kind of creative way to, hey, they went and back and set their defense. No, I'm going to pull a defender into the back, the other side of the court, and let's try to do something kind of creative there.
It's especially nice for the Celtics when it's Trae Young who's the one who comes up to try to make Smart, because then it's like, that's like the perfect guy for Smart to run right past and start a 5-on-4. Yeah.
All right, that's it for the game. Let's talk about Ime Udoka, who's the head coach of the Houston Rockets. I thought he'd go for a more established roster.
I thought so too. Yeah.
I'm a little surprised he went with that. I feel like there's a non-zero chance that he actually gets into a fist fight with somebody on that team in a film session.
Yeah, I mean, this honestly, like this is a decent. It's a pretty great landing spot for the Celtics, right? Because now it's like
not Houston. I'm sorry, it's not Toronto.
It's not Toronto. It's not like somebody in the in the Eastern Conference, or even like a team that's going to contend over the next like few years. Like it's just kind of this like, okay, everybody has gone their own way. There's not going to be any narrative about like, honestly, there probably won't be much narrative about like, whoa, look what Ime's doing. Like that team's probably not going to win many games next year. Honestly, like the thing that he did pretty well in Boston was kind of yell at people until they played better. And like, if there's a team in the NBA where Ime Udoka that needs somebody to yell at them until they play better, it's probably the Rockets, right? So you can kind of see that. The Rockets might end up with Victor Wembanyama. Like they might end up with like this really interesting young team. I mean, I see the appeal of them. I like, you can see how he could probably make some genuine improvements right away. And again, if you're the Celtics, it is just, you can just really wash your hands, move on. Like no harm, no foul. Yeah. You do that. Go coach the Rockets. Like this is a clean, this is a nice clean break for the Celtics, I think.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, there are people who are like, kind of criticizing the move, criticizing that he's back. First thing, I think we still don't know exactly what happened.
Right.
Nothing illegal happened, so we do have to keep that little bit of perspective, not to downplay what he did. If it was sexual harassment or abuse of power, that's serious stuff. Yeah. And he did pay a stiff penalty. Look, you could see a very clear path for him to be a 50 to 60 win coach from the beginning of his career. That would have put him on a real early path towards kind of like basketball immortality, right? Like if he had just like been normal, he could have taken this team. He could have been coaching this team and they could have won a championship. Maybe he wins a championship or two right away, and he piles up wins and he gets to 200, 300, 400 wins really, really quickly. And then he just starts to kind of, after that, whatever happens, you can coast your way to like, all of a sudden you're starting to look at records before you know it. Now he's the coach of the Rockets, and who knows what the hell is going to happen there. He had one good season, and this is going to be, he'll be a 500 career coach after next year, right? So he's given up a lot as far as his basketball legacy, a lot of things that he's worked hard to accomplish. He lost that. He lost, I assume, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, NBA coaches make multiple millions of dollars. He was suspended. They were docking his pay somehow. So
I believe Wick used the word significant.
Yeah. So I don't think it was a couple $100,000. I think he lost, millions of dollars. That's my guess.
Yeah.
He lost his relationship. He lost, the mother of his child or children. One child, one son, two sons.
I don't believe that he had any children with Nia, but I could be wrong.
He
did. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he did. But regardless, that's gone away.
Yep.
So he paid a heavy price, you know?
Yeah.
And now he's got to go coach the Rockets, which is, that's not going to be easy. But hey, so I'm not being dismissive of anything that he's done.
No.
But I tell you what, I've been saying this, when you get the job, we're going to find out what he did. We're going to find out, because at the very least, he's going to say something, and it's going to start to leak. And either he's going to downplay it, and the Celtics are going to have to somehow find a way to respond so they don't look like jerks, or he's just going to be like, yeah, this is what I did. I own it. And, which would be the thing that he should do. You want accountability for this young team? You come out right away. You do some interview with somebody and you say, I made this mistake. I'm not going to name names or anything like that. I abused my power. My success got to my head. I lost a lot. I realized what I've lost. And if he's genuine about that, then hey, you gotta give somebody the benefit for learning and growing. But that, I think that's the best way for him to handle this, and not be like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, and then have the Celtics have to somehow leak, because then their front office looks really, really bad. Either way, we're going to figure out something about what happened in that.
Yeah, I don't. We don't know what happens. We don't know the specifics. I don't want to you don't want to speculate too much by any means. But I do think that just based on what we do know, I hope he does kind of come out and take some kind of accountability and kind of pass that on to a young team, right? Because that can be a powerful message for a bunch of young basketball players who are going to be in positions of power and financial power, certainly, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are going to be young men who make a lot of money and have a lot of a lot of growing to do. And if you have if you have kind of a person in a position of power who says hey, I made these mistakes, don't make these mistakes too. I think that could be really good for everybody. I hope that's what happens. In an ideal world, it would be a situation where, he learns and grows, and then hopefully that, is passed on to other people, to the players who are going to be with him too. So, that's the, that's the optimistic view of things. I hope that's what goes down.
I want him to walk in to that team, that locker room, and be like, I could be coaching a championship right now. I screwed it up, and now I'm coaching you jerks.
Now I'm coaching you lottery-bound bums.
You suck. And my punishment, my penance is I have to coach you.
So I will scream at you until you play better.
Jaylen Green, I am going to make your life a living hell until you become good enough for me to not regret everything that I've done. So, all right.
Yeah.
There you go. Simple. All right, that's the podcast. That's the end of the podcast. Next podcast will be a post-game 5 elimination podcast, I hope.
Yeah, it better be.
Oh, better be. Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate you, man.
So tune in and subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed. God help the Celtics if they don't close this out in 5. God help me, my doctor, my mental health. I'm going to need some real time to myself if they don't end this thing in 5. Make sure you subscribe. Watch the show on YouTube. You can see how red my face gets. Make a comment, start a conversation, and subscribe there as well. Ring the bell so you get notified whenever I drop a video. And I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell your friends and everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.